PhD, and you're listening to the TyePod.
Hi, everybody. It's another episode of the TyePod, and I'm joined today by Kayla VanderZanden, and we're going to talk a little bit about her journey with SMA and some of her interests and hobbies and what she's passionate about, and yeah, just have a conversation back and forth a little bit after that. So thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of like to start out with something a little bit fun. I was thinking this morning about one of my favorite adaptive tools lately for like scratching all over my head is like it's like a wire whisk, but it's the one that just like fits down over your entire like head, and
Oh,
it almost puts me to sleep, I think. But anyway, I wanted to let you kind of talk about maybe one of your favorite devices too.
it's one of my favorite devices. Um, this is actually one that we kind of made ourselves. Recently we converted a plastic fork into something that I can use to feed myself. Um, Taped a plastic straw onto the
Mhm.
end and made it longer, and then also added some like rubber bands to the end to make it a little heavier on one end.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, it's a lot of work, but I can now feed myself some foods, which I haven't done in a really long time.
That is really cool. I like that approach too. Like you take something like just everyday stuff, right? And you just make it into something that's adaptive for you.
Yeah, we've had a lot of experience with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I even think back on some duct tape over the years that I used to like hold together an old wheelchair seat that I had, and just things
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. We're masters at that, I think, too, after after our
Yeah,
experience.
yep,
Yeah. But if you want to now talk just a little bit about like just in general about you and anything that you want to share about your story or journey so far, just kind of wherever you want to go with it.
yeah. So yeah, I have spinal muscular atrophy, and I'm almost 17, so I'm kind of getting into that stage of life where I'm thinking a lot about the future and college and moving out and all that fun stuff. Um, Trying to figure out how it's going to look as a disabled person. And yeah, it's a little confusing, but also like I'm having fun with it too. Um, yeah, it's I didn't realize until now how much work it actually is to figure all that stuff out. It's gonna be really hard, but I'm hoping it's worth it as well. Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah, there are so many variables and moving parts when you start, when you move beyond high school and start going to college and everything. Like I really relate to that, like,
yeah,
I think I ended up being at university probably 10 years through grad school, and then I was even there working afterwards, and it was just constantly changing and adapting, figuring out, all the accessibility and everything. And yeah, but I noticed that you mentioned in a post recently about taking some Zoom classes. Are you starting out early with college courses or what's going on there?
yeah. So my high school has an early college program.
Nice.
Yeah, so I started at a local community college, just a couple of classes. I thought, why not? It's paid for, so might
Yeah.
as well. Um, and then, so yeah, I get to do that until I graduate high school.
Yeah.
So yeah,
What
that's
classes are you taking?
right now I'm taking personal health and a reading class.
Mhm.
In a couple of weeks, I will start a college survival class.
That
Um,
sounds useful.
yeah, it's a required class for probably for a reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Yeah. That's awesome. What's the experience been like for you on the online classes? Is it like, is the teachers, or do they do a good job of like including you or like showing everybody's faces? Or is it one of those where there's a bunch of black screens and nobody's saying?
Yeah, I was worried about that for sure. Um, it's very much you can do what you want. There's
Yeah.
actually been quite a few people who turn on their cameras and interact with the
Hmm.
class. The teachers have been super great so far. Um, I'm very lucky that the college had a lot of accommodations,
Hmm.
and I actually had a teacher reach out to me on the first day and let me know that she could accommodate me really with anything I needed. So that
Yeah.
was super nice.
So the teacher
And
took initiative to ask you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was amazing. I was a little nervous about that.
It seems like a very uncommon thing, at least in my experience, for a teacher to actually reach out and do that.
Yeah, I was not expecting that for sure.
Yeah.
They had each teacher got like a notification of my accommodations.
Hmm.
So I know they all know about it, but I was not
Yeah.
expecting And you want to
Still,
actually, yeah,
yeah, when they bring in a personal touch and actually treat you like a human and ask you what you
yeah,
need, it's kind of nice.
exactly. I don't have to
Yeah.
send so many emails being like this, and this.
Do you find that's kind of exhausting too, like always having to think beforehand of all the things that you need to mention or tell them?
Yeah, it is super tiring, especially like I know at my high school in the past couple of years, there's been a lot of staff changes,
Mhm.
and I'm like, well, that's another person I have to email and let them know of my situation, so they're
Yeah.
not expecting, whatever. Yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah, I just there's so many times too, you're just like, you I tried to avoid sending too many emails just because it was so exhausting. You have to plan out, like, well, if I send out 5 emails this afternoon, then I'm going to be able to, am I going to type for texting or to be able to do anything
Right.
else? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What degree program do you know, like what major or what career path you kind of want to follow when you start college?
Right now I'm looking at graphic design. Yeah, I'm super interested in that. I always love designing on my iPad and creating posters and videos and whatever.
Yeah. Very creative work, huh?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. Did you kind of just do that kind of growing up, get into that, or was there something in college, or not college, in high school maybe that you experienced, or like how did you get into graphic design?
Well, growing up, since a lot of what I can do independently is on my iPad,
Mhm.
I kind of just got into it that way. But also, when I entered middle school online, a lot of it was making slideshows and presentations for your classes, and that was required. But I actually really enjoyed it, and then I kind of started doing it on my free time, and
Yeah.
then using Canva to make posters or whatever for fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Canva's pretty awesome, isn't it?
yeah, it's amazing. I love it so much.
I really wish I would have had that 10 years ago when I was doing slideshows and all that for classes, because I was with PowerPoint and that was such a
Oh,
old, boring system.
yeah,
So yeah.
for sure. It makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. When you get into graphic design, do you see yourself going into like, I don't know, like advertising, or is there a specific area that you like to design for specifically?
Yeah, advertising. I've always been super interested in social media
Yeah.
and advertising on there. So that's something I also really love to do when I can. So yeah,
Yeah.
probably advertising somehow.
There's a lot of options there, it seems like, and like high paid people. I think designing things that way now.
Yeah, for sure. I'm
Yeah.
excited to get into it.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking back, back on my days when I was looking at college, and I ended up in computer science to start with, but I was in such a small school that I didn't really even know like all the details of what computer science was.
Yeah,
So like going into it, I was just like, I don't know what to expect, um, but it's cool that you have kind of a set plan in the area that you are passionate about already, and so you can just like jump right in and go full speed. It seems like,
right. Yeah. I mean, 6 months ago, I had no idea what I was doing.
yeah,
But yeah, I realized that if it's something I already love to do, why not make it a career or whatever?
right,
Yeah.
right. That's a really good approach. Uh, I'm curious which university or which area are you at, and like, are you going to be traveling at all to the university or trying to move there permanently? What's your strategy kind of for that?
Yeah, I jump back and forth on that a lot.
Uh-huh.
Um, I live in Oregon, so I think there's quite a few options for colleges. Um, I wanted to move out and onto campus. Um, I mean, every teenage girl or every teenage person wants to just move out of their house.
Right.
Um, but I have had a few friends a little older than me who are now going to college, and they have their own disabilities.
Mhm.
And I've seen how hard it is to find caregiving, which is like super important. Um, and I know I'm gonna have a really difficult time doing that. So I've also considered a community college and staying at home. Um, it's not my first choice, but I
Right.
mean, if it's what it comes down to, then it's what it comes down to. So
Right. Yeah, definitely. And I understand kind of that, back and forth. You're wondering, yeah, and I mean, there's good things with both and bad things, obviously. And so it's just a matter of kind of going with what you have right at the time. And then if it presents itself to go the other route, maybe that's, something to do a little bit later into it. But
yeah, for sure. I'm
yeah,
letting it all work itself out.
Yeah, yeah. As far as the caregiving thing goes, like, what has your experience been like? Have you worked with outside caregivers, and like, what are the options that you've had there?
Yeah, so I'm super lucky because I've had the same caregiver for almost 13 years, I think.
Yeah.
So, and she's like basically family. Um, so I haven't had a lot of experience of trying to find new caregiver. Um, but I know once I graduate, I'm gonna have to do that because
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, my caregiver right now, she's like my second mom, and
Hmm.
I love her, but I don't think there's a lot of teenagers who want like a mom with them going to college. Um,
Right.
so I'm gonna have to try to find some alternatives. And I mean, my caregiver is stuck, but I know not a lot do. So that will be interesting.
Right. Right. There's definitely quite a few things to consider there. And I mean, it's the independence thing, right? Like, you're wanting to have as much of that as you possibly can, but also, you do have those needs that have to be taken
Yeah,
care of too. Yeah.
yeah, I can't just go out on my own and figure it out. Like
Right.
as I'm going, it has to be all figured out ahead of
Right.
time.
Everything has to be planned out ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that well, even the classes that you've taken, before, like in high school and everything, like, are you having to plan quite a lot, of like all these questions? And do you find it takes away from the actual like time to learn or study, or whatever you need to do on that side of it?
Um, Now that I've started early college, yes. Um, Before that, I've been at my school for, but that's the only school I've ever been to.
Hmm.
Sadly, I started in the fourth grade,
Hmm.
so I've kind of gotten down that routine of like what to expect and what I need to ask for. So it's not as tiring. But yeah, now that I started college classes, I'm like, oh, this is a whole new experience. Uh,
Right.
yeah, so now it is a little bit more tiring, but I'm
Yeah.
also having fun with it.
Right. It's something you have to kind of juggle as this extra thing, right? You're always just the brain capacity for me, just figuring out, you flood it with too many things at once, and it's kind of difficult to manage everything, all at the same
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Um, I wanted to shift a little bit about go into SMA a little bit, like your experience with like diagnosis and doctors, and just a little bit about, your story there.
Yeah. Um, well, I was diagnosed pretty early, about 6 months. Um, so yeah, I've lived with it my whole life, and
Hmm.
it's I remember being a kid and not really like I'm just used to it, so I don't understand why all these other people are like misunderstanding me or whatever. Um, and as I've gotten older, I've learned a lot about the disability community and the experiences other people have had. Um, and it's been a journey of, especially now that I'm a teenager, of um, like being proud of being disabled, but also like it kind of sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your doctors and like your care, did you find that, have you been with someone consistently, and have they been good overall, or have there been challenges that maybe you've had to switch between different ones?
Right. I have some really good doctors, a really good care team. There have been a few worse experiences. That was kind of when I was little, so I don't remember them a lot. But yeah, I'm really grateful to have some really amazing people who know about SMA, know about me,
Mhm.
and can come up with the right approach to taking care of me.
Yeah. And as far as like becoming sort of a self advocate, do you feel like you did that early on, or is that something you're kind of, finding yourself getting, maybe getting into now that you're a little bit older?
Yeah, I'm kind of now. I'm starting to get into it more. My mom has always been the one
Mhm.
to handle my doctor's appointments and surgeries or whatever. Um, Now that I'm getting older, I want to definitely do some of it myself if I can.
Right.
It's difficult because whenever if I'm on the phone with someone or whatever, I then have to communicate that with multiple other people. So it's like, and that's what my mom has had to do. So I'm not like complaining, but yeah, just learning about that now, about how to transition into that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I guess we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that's a whole nother, realm of like, I think stress and anxiety, figuring out how to balance all the different, doctors, and are you doing it consistently enough, but is it so much that it's taking over your life, because it seems
Right.
like you can have so many appointments and so many doctor visits and you have time for nothing else.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm glad that my mom has always not let it take over my life.
Yeah.
Um, oh, if there's ever been a doctor's appointment that they've wanted us to see a certain department twice a year, my mom will be like, no, once a year. Like,
Yeah.
just be my advocate and let me live my life and not have to go to the doctor once a week to
Yeah.
talk about things that we've talked about hundreds of times.
Right. And not necessarily, I mean, the story doesn't really change, at least in my experience. I don't know if yours is the same, but it's, you just go and talk about the same things and there's really not a great solution. You're like, well, I just like if I didn't think about it or spend the time on it, then I would just be living.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I mean, there's like even right now, the hospital I go to once a year has a clinic, and they want me to go in and see every single department of people that
Right.
I see a lot anyway, and they just want to see me and make sure I'm alive, I guess. But like, I'm nothing changed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, wow. It seems like they will schedule your entire life just day after day of appointments if you don't speak up or have someone be like, no, we're not doing that. It's just
right.
way too much. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, but that's so great though that you have, family support that can, self-advocate that way and try to balance out, things a little bit more. I found that my parents were that way when I was young, and it just felt so good to know that, you had that support. Like if it
yeah,
doesn't feel like you want to do it, then you don't have to. So,
yeah, for sure. I'm really grateful for my family.
yeah, definitely. Um, I guess as far as like the insurance side of things and like and figuring out how to afford things like caregiving and everything, is that something you're kind of digging into more and more now?
Yeah, I mean, we battled insurance my whole life.
Yeah.
Um, it sucks. It's like it's. I've learned that for you, something might be super important, but for them, it's just money they have to give away, and they don't.
Right.
They don't care. Um, so yeah, I've definitely battled like with power chairs and different equipment I might need. They've denied us a few things that we've appealed, and yeah, it's an ongoing battle, and I know it's one I'll have to keep battling.
Right.
It's not going to get better anytime soon.
Right.
Um, it might even get worse. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah. Is there like one example thing maybe that you needed and appealed and then you received benefit for that you can think of?
Um, trying to think. There's so many different ones.
Yeah.
I think. Well, one of the main things is my medical stroller, which I'm in right now. Um, we had to. I mean, like 5 years ago, we got this actually, and it was a journey because it cost like $14,000, and they denied it, of course.
Right.
Um, I think we tried to appeal it, and they still said no. So we had to get grants and fundraise the rest of the money ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, so that wasn't really a story of like them saying yes or accepting it, but things like that were like something that I really needed, and they they didn't care.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good segue as far as the fundraising thing, because I know that, that can be a source of like frustration, being able to obviously not only do the things that you need to do, but also, do things that you enjoy, and want to do. And like what has that been like? Do you find that as far as like equipment goes, are there a lot of opportunities out there that you have for applying, or is it like pretty challenging to locate any other alternative sources?
Um, as far as equipment goes, I'm lucky I have a lot of the equipment that I need. There are some things that would make my life so much easier that we know insurance wouldn't approve. Um, so it's kind of like the way to get it, unfortunately. Um, like for example, this is very expensive, a robotic arm from Jayco robotic arm. it's like $50,000, and I've tried it a few times, which has been super cool. That's not something insurance approves for a lot of people. I don't know really a lot of people who got it. I know some people who insurance approved it, and then they said, "We'll give you this, but we're going to take away your caregiving."
So they make you choose between one or the other.
Yeah, and it's like, well,
Wow.
this robotic arm doesn't help me go to the bathroom. Like,
Right.
it doesn't completely replace a caregiver. It helps you be independent.
Right.
Yeah, but they don't see it like that, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, insurance never, it feels like they never will either,
No, yeah,
And I even remember language like something about if you're living in the home or if you can live in the home, like you're covered. But if it's anything to go outside to do anything
yeah,
in public with traveling or accessing buildings, anything like that, they just don't understand
yeah.
or approve anything like that.
No, they don't
Yeah.
understand that disabled people just want to live their lives, and that isn't just inside your house. You have to
Right.
leave the house to live your life, and yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, like some of these things, like the Jayco arm and everything, that enables us to go out and you know do things outside the home, and I mean, be part of like the workforce, like be able to have a job and
yeah,
employment and everything, and it's just very limited, like very restrictive,
yeah.
policies. So yeah, it's definitely not going away. I don't think anytime soon either. But
No,
um,
unfortunately.
yeah, I know that you've done a little bit of work with Laughing at My Nightmare, and we shared like a profile back. But I wanted to kind of shift into like advocacy awareness, anything like that that you've been involved in or would like to get involved with, and what your experience is on that side.
Yeah, I mean, I love laughing at my nightmare, and the little bit that I've been able to do with them. In terms of advocacy, that's something I'm super passionate about, and I love sharing about my disability and my life with a disability. In the future, I would love to be able to have a platform where I can talk about it and hopefully have people relate to it in some way. I want to build that community online. Um, so yeah, I would love to have that happen even in the next year. Because it's something I've always liked talking about. I love it when people ask me questions and inquire about it. It brings me a lot of joy to share about it.
Yeah, yeah, that's so great. And I think with your graphic design and getting more and more into that, that's like a perfect
Yeah,
skill to have to go into social media and advocacy too. So that's really great. What kind of, I guess I'm curious on the questions you've gotten and when you've talked about it, are there people that ask it in a way that's, just like genuine and empathetic and things like that? Or have you had to, obviously have questions that maybe were positioned in a way that were ableist or made you feel uncomfortable? Like how do you approach, the whole question thing that way?
yeah. It can be confusing. I've had, the comment like, "What's wrong with you?" or "What happened to you?" Mostly from kids who are just curious.
Right.
Um, I definitely had some people be genuine about it and just actually wonder what's going on, and that's great. I love answering those questions. I've had little kids who stare because they're curious,
Mhm.
but they don't come up and ask questions. Or if they try to ask their parents, like, what happened, the
Mhm.
parent will shush them and be like, stop talking.
Yeah.
I've had all those different kinds of things. I mean, right now, what's happening more often is parents telling their kids not to ask questions.
Yeah.
And if I see it in public, I will try to approach them and be like, It's fine. I really don't care. Like, it's not
Yeah.
a bad thing to be curious.
That's
Ask
exactly where I
away."
was gonna go. Yeah, like, it seems like that would be something where you would want, to let your kids ask the questions and learn, and like how that's
Yeah.
how they're gonna be more understanding of it anyway, in my opinion, is if it's not like this hush hush thing that you sweep away and don't talk about.
Yeah. I mean, we're everywhere. Um, I think just telling kids not to talk
Mhm.
shows them that what they're asking about is bad. And it's this controversial thing when it's really not. It's just our lives. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's really great to hear though that that you encourage and try to, answer those questions and let kids be curious about it. I think so great to, to hear that you're doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Um, I guess kind of thinking about going into maybe like hobbies or things that you enjoy doing kind of outside of, what you're going to be doing for school or your degree program and everything. Like, what are some things that you're passionate about doing just because you love them, basically?
Yeah, I love to read books. I haven't always been the biggest reader, but in the past few years, I've gotten more into it.
Yeah.
So I love to read. I like to be outside as much as I can. Um, I like to bake, whatever, anything
Yeah.
really.
Anything
Anything.
more sweet things or savory or just kind of
More
everything?
sweet, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's mostly like sometimes muffins or
Yeah.
whatever. Um, I like to be creative as much as I can. It can be difficult, but like I like to paint if possible,
Hmm.
or color or anything like that. Yeah, all those. Oh, and music. I love music.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that you've attended some concerts and shared some some details about that, like things with finding tickets and like, there's just it seems like there's so many challenges for people with disabilities to go to concerts.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I've attended one. I went to Sabrina Carpenter's concert,
Yeah.
which was great. I up until the past year, I haven't really like had any experience with that going to
Hmm.
concerts, and I realized just how difficult it really is. Like a lot of times, accessible tickets are gone or they're super expensive.
Right.
Um, I know when me and my sister went to Sabrina's concert, we had accessible tickets, and there were two other accessible seats next to us, and they were
Mhm.
taken by able-bodied people. And
Yeah.
a dad and his daughter, and we were like, "Oh, actually, I don't even think they bought the tickets. I think they were sitting there." Um, and I mean, I know there are some invisible disabilities, but
Right. Right.
those were like wheelchair seats.
Right. And I
I
mean,
was like,
those are so limited,
yeah,
already. And that there's people out there, that are wheelchair users that probably want or need those spaces. And I
yeah,
mean, it's yeah, the expense and just the online experience and of like buying tickets for bigger name, highly popular artists is just not it's not really possible. It doesn't seem.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's super difficult for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I've heard all kinds of horror stories about that, and I've had some of my own too. So I definitely understand what you're talking about on that.
Yep, yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah. Well, I guess kind of the last area of questions and stuff. As a whole of the disability community, what is your sense of like? I guess there's so many different types. It's such a diverse area. Do you feel like they people are coming together just as a whole with disability, or do you find that there's still like too many, just like isolated groups? Do you think that would be better to, I don't know, to maybe come together as a bigger, more,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think a little bit of both is happening, especially right now. I think disabled people are coming together more than ever, honestly.
Mhm.
Um, I also know there are some areas that feel more isolated and maybe don't know what to do, or just they don't feel like approached. Um, so yeah, I definitely think a little bit of both is happening. I
Mhm.
know that I'm trying to use my voice as much as I can, but also like with not really a platform, I don't really know how to advocate for bigger change. So I can definitely understand both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like the whole idea of ableism is, it extends into the disability community, I find, because, people with maybe less obvious disabilities or less limiting ones, they don't maybe necessarily advocate for, anybody with more severe disabilities. And,
Mhm.
it seems like it's still part of this effort to, quote unquote, be normalized, into society in some way and downplay, the disability. But
Yeah. I
yeah.
think I think there's when people think disability, they think like physical disabilities, like wheelchairs, and I think definitely we're still trying to show that it's a wide range. And there's people in every area of life who have
Yeah.
visible disabilities, and trying to advocate that they're here too. Like, don't exclude them. It's
Right.
always going to be a battle, I think.
Right. I think so too. And it's, just it'd be nice if there was a level of openness and, empathy for just kind of everything, you know, not to label or you know, stigmatize really any area of disability, but you know, I know that's going to always be a thing that we're going to have to push back against probably.
Yeah, I agree. It's frustrating, but it's part of life.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great, Kayla. I do want to. Is there a way that you like to have people reach out and visit with you about like disability issues or like collaborations? Is that something that you know you would like to do, or what's your best way to
Yeah.
get in touch?
I have an Instagram account. It is private. It's called Kayla Loves Chocolate.
Hmm.
Um,
Awesome name, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you. Yep, my cousin is inspired that. So there, I usually only let friends and family follow me,
Right.
but if we have a mutual follower or somebody, then sure,
Yeah.
yeah. So reach out to me there, I guess.
Yeah. And you know, in the future, once you're, you know, further into your degree and everything, you decide you want to open it up, I'll definitely, you know, would be happy to kind of share and work together on some more things too. Maybe some graphic design, you know, projects or something later on too.
That'd be amazing. I would love that for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's been great, Kayla, and I sure appreciate you you know, taking the time and visiting a little bit about everything.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And look forward to working with you maybe on something in the future. So good luck
Same.
with all of your college courses and everything starting up.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Well, talk to you soon.